In 2016, the world's premier fashion forecaster attended a runway show where they noticed one designer was sending pants with wider legs down the runway more frequently than usual. They noticed the same thing at a second show. Within weeks, a detailed report went out to their 6,000 clients with a very clear message.
The skinny jean has peaked. Begin transitioning customers to looser fits.
Clothing companies did not like this idea. The skinny jean was the most profitable garment in history. It used less fabric than regular pants, cheap elastane instead of cotton. It had historically low returns. People were addicted. Refusing to kill their best product overnight, the forecaster helped retailers engineer a more gentle introduction to wider legs, slowly weaning people off tight pants with the mom jean. Not wide, but not skin tight. It got everyone used to seeing some fabric away from the leg. Oh, that's different. Conditioning everyone's eyes and priming the massive trend about to explode on the internet.
What's your least favorite fashion trend right now? Skinny jeans. Skinny jeans.
The skinny jeans.
Skinny jeans are not coming back.
How I know I'm old? I didn't know that the skinny jean ever went out.
These people falling in love with wide leg pants, they didn't invent wide leg pants. They didn't sew wide leg pants for themselves. They went to stores and bought what was available. Looser in the hips and thigh, mom jeans had given retailers confidence to push wider and people to buy wider. People made videos about them. The videos went viral. Retailers saw the videos and said, see, the forecast was right, and ordered millions more. How wide can we go? Wider and wider until today, where we're in the last stage of this trend, ultra wide. Once wide became normal, the only way to signal new was to go even wider. This and what follows is a story about the powerful force that swapped out skinny jeans for wide leg jeans. A force that affects everyone but is recognized by almost no one outside of those who know what to look for. How prices feed into themselves, elections, the housing market, boom-bust cycles. George Soros, one of the most powerful people on the planet, attributes his entire fortune to it. It seemed random. Oh, look at that. Wide leg pants are in. A natural switch to a new style, but the wide leg pant phenomenon wasn't random at all. This fashion forecaster, WGSN, is so accurate in their calls that every single retailer in the world is a client. Apple, Target, Zara, H&M, IKEA, Anthropologie, all the way down to the smaller brands you've never heard of, sending out a major forecast document every year that attempts to predict what will happen 3 years in the future. They correctly predicted technical clothing like puffy jackets and outdoor gear would go mainstream, a trend called gorpcore. They predicted millennial pink, mid-century modern for interiors, wide leg pants. Their predictions proved correct at an incredible rate. Do you know how hard it is to predict how people will feel and what they'll be into 3 years from today? You can't. This is our force at work, Reflexivity. When you are the company everyone looks to for advice on what designs will sell, counting every single brand that has floor space and the ability to reach millions of people, you can make your predictions come true.
I have an expected decline in deposits. But here's the problem. Venture capitalists reportedly advising their portfolio companies to pull their money.
No, don't say that. That's going to make it worse. That's how you kick off a bank run. Hey, listen up. I need you to drop everything you're doing right now. Go to the bank, pull out all of our cash, every dime. There's a bank run on our bank. I actually think it might go under. Your bank does not have all the cash you and its other customers have deposited on hand right this moment. When you give the bank cash, they take that money and go out and buy things that pay them interest. Usually very stable things like government bonds. They are only required to hold 10% of your cash. The other 90%, they can do whatever they want with it. This is the beauty of being a bank. People give you money and you take that money and you can buy things that turn into more money. We call this fractional banking, and we do it because money sitting in an account is unproductive. Why not lend it to somebody who can use it? And really, what are the odds that everybody shows up on the same day demanding their cash? For that to happen, customers would have to think there's something wrong with the bank, that their money is not safe. If enough people thought this and showed up at the same time, the bank is going to have to sell some of those assets it bought with customer deposits. More people try to withdraw, more selling. Word begins to spread, customers begin to panic, even more people try to withdraw. Now the bank has to sell assets at whatever price they can get as fast as they can, a fire sale. If the bank has to sell assets well below what they were worth yesterday, they're not going to have enough cash for the unlucky people all the way at the end of the withdrawal line. This is a bank run. This is how the Great Depression got started. This is how Silicon Valley Bank went under. This is Reflexivity at work. There was nothing wrong with the bank. It was only because people thought something was wrong that caused something to be wrong with the bank. Nobody was asking for wide leg pants. WGSN telling companies to make wide leg pants caused companies to advertise their wide leg pants, which caused people to ask for wide leg pants. Or to put it in more formal terms, a person's perception about something changes. That change in perception then actually changes the fundamentals of the thing. The person at Urban Outfitters responsible for buying and scouting styles for women's denim is the first to read the report.
Skinny jeans are dead. Start transitioning customers to looser fits.
They called the manager of the entire women's pants division.
We should run a test. Let's do a fast-track run of wide leg styles.
Manager approves. The design team sketches a few wide leg styles and sends them to factories designed to make small batches quickly. The 1,500 pairs they get from this factory are going to cost a small fortune. However well they sell, money is going to be lost. That's fine. They just want to test demand. 8 weeks later, the new styles landed the company's big flagship stores. We're talking New York, London, Paris, Miami, Los Angeles, highest of traffic culture hubs. This is why all the new seems to happen in these places. The newest of the new, the tests, they all start at the epicenter of foot traffic. A massive store in Times Square, yeah, it's good advertising, but it's also an excellent lab to test things in. Almost always losing money for the company, but providing feedback and data you can't get in Ohio. Walk into any retail store, there's the front display right inside the entrance. This is just for show, to get you to look at the store. Go past, make a right turn. This is the premier floor space. The people want this right now and will pay for it section. That's not where the test goes. It gets a couple of speed bumps. Those displays taking up walking space in the aisle. Speed bumps because they get you to slow down and look even if you don't want to. Go all the way to the back where most people will never make it. Sales, basics, classics, stuff the store doesn't think makes a visual statement of, or cool, you should buy here. That goes in the back third. So do the rest of the test styles. These tests happen at thousands of retailers around the world who all get the same forecast from WGSN. What had zero floor space anywhere 3 months ago, wide leg pants now has a few percent. Nobody came into these stores looking for wide leg pants. Oh, wide leg pants. Wide leg pants again. People must be wearing wide leg pants. Let me try some on. Conversations happen, a few people buy them, people see those people. Suddenly wide leg pants are on people's mind. Once on shelves, the 2-week clock starts. If the styles sell out, the real purchase begins. 1,500 pairs becomes hundreds of thousands. 8 weeks to get them onto shelves becomes 6 months. The person who suggested the test looks good. Their manager looks good. The manager's manager looks good. The CEO notices. If the styles don't sell out, nothing happens. The person who suggested the test says WGSN said we should do it. Their manager says my staff was just following what WGSN said. The manager's manager says totally fine. WGSN is usually right. The CEO? Never notified. Now it's entirely possible people did, deep down, want wide leg pants. It might have even been likely. The designers sending wider leg pants down the runway are at the front of fashion, and were technically the people who started the wide leg trend. WGSN did not invent this whole thing where humans change clothing styles. Humans have been changing clothing styles for centuries, millennia. We are social creatures, conditioned to see patterns, to notice what other people are doing, to copy or imitate. Children aren't taught to speak. They copy their parents. We see somebody wearing something we think is cool. We think people will think it's cool if we wear it. Our perception that it's cool makes it cool. Pause real quick. The point is to hide yourself from the internet. Prevent anyone from knowing where you are, who you are, or what you're doing online. Private is the key word in VPN. That is why you want NordVPN. You want a company to be physically headquartered somewhere where they do not have to store your activity data and can't legally be compelled to share information about you. If your data isn't stored, it can't be hacked, subpoenaed, leaked, or sold. Take it one step further, without Nord masks your IP address and your activity online cannot be tracked. I did a whole section of a video highlighting how a popular VPN allows people or companies to route their traffic through your computer, making it appear that their visits to whatever they're visiting looks like it came from your computer. With privacy being the reason to use a VPN. When I need a VPN, I use Nord. One account covers 10 devices, and with an ultra-fast connection, you don't need to sacrifice speed for better security. NordVPN gives you both. Use my link to get a great discount on a 2-year plan plus 4 additional bonus months. Get it at nordvpn.com/Maxinomics. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Stay private, stay protected. nordvpn.com/Maxinomics or click the link in the description below. Thank you to NordVPN. Now let's get back to it. We're ready.
What we did was take traditional men's work pants and rivet them, creating the new category of workwear, which we today call blue jeans.
Punch a hole through the fabric, insert the rivet, place the cap over the rivet post, and hammer the cap into place. The rivet is the true innovation that got Levi's going. Patented in 1873, it was 50% stronger than stitching. By 1900, they were selling 10 million pairs per year across the western U.S. Cowboys, construction miners, anyone who needed durability. It wasn't until the 1920s that they spread to the East Coast. It wasn't until the 50s that they started the trend fashion when Marlon Brando, James Dean, and Elvis Presley began wearing them. 20 more years would pass before everyone had a pair of jeans in their wardrobe. That is how fashion used to spread, slowly. But cut out the part where many sellers try a variety of ideas to see what sticks and instead tell them what to buy so everyone is carrying at least one version of the same thing. The feedback loop is completely removed. You just walk in. Oh, look, wide leg pants in every store. Must be the thing now. Do you have a pair in 32? But this concept of reflexivity is a spectrum. Thinking it's going to rain and getting everyone else to think it's going to rain will not make it rain. Bank runs are on the other end. WGSN around an 8. Traditional fashion, maybe around a 4. Shein, a 9. Being able to open an app, see something you like, hit buy for an outrageously low price, and have it delivered to your door in less than 4 weeks was a huge concern for clothing companies. It was almost a direct challenge to WGSN. The speed at which it spread, how much people loved it and hated it, the angst from those in the more traditional clothing industry.
Shein is huge. It ranks #1 in worldwide online sales,
with an annual sales of about $30 billion.
It is known for dirt cheap products created exceedingly fast.
Gen Z has pretty much gone bananas for the company.
This was all a clear indicator that Shein had figured out some sort of reflexive loop. And frankly, it's a brilliant business, extremely well executed. Love it or hate it, it was nothing short of impressive, nor was it the overnight success it appeared to be. Founded all the way back in 2008, the founder of the company wasn't an expert in clothing. He was an expert in how to structure a website so it ranks in the top 10 on Google search. What's called search engine optimization. Do it right and a brand didn't have to spend any money on advertising. This was the holy grail of almost every business for the past 25 years. For those that aren't familiar with search engine optimization, there are tools that let you see what words people are typing into Google and how frequently they're being typed in. Using those tools, Xiu discovered people were typing in cheap wedding dress a lot, which caused him to notice that the websites Google sent back to those searches did not give people what they were looking for. No brand in the wedding dress business wanted to be associated with cheap. That word and any word associated with it were nowhere to be found on sites that sold wedding dresses. Shein started out specifically to target those searches coming from the US and Europe, capture the traffic, and arbitrage the difference between how cheap a wedding dress could be made in China and how much it could be sold for to Western customers. They built hundreds of sites targeting tens of thousands of searches coming from phrases like cheap wedding dress, custom wedding dress 500, mermaid wedding dress cheap, wedding dress on sale. Behind those sites, they partnered with a few dozen small clothing factories in China that made the wedding gowns. A wedding gown could be made for $60 or $70 and sold for $500, while still being considered cheap to the buyer. This worked incredibly well. But there is one major, glaring downside with the wedding gown business if you are not in it for the art of it. With only some exceptions, most brides will only ever buy one wedding dress. Repeat customers are not a thing. As if giving a mini preview of what would happen 10 years later, this became a real problem the moment Google updated its search algorithm to penalize networks of sites like what Shein was operating. All the sites were very similar, if not identical copies with just a few words changed here and there. The point of them was to crowd everyone else out. They all linked back to one another, tactics right on or over the edge of what Google said was fair practice. Traffic plummeted. Ooh, but wait. What is this? Is this a second life? Here's what we're gonna do. Ditch the wedding gown business. We're gonna sell every piece of clothing someone might wanna buy. To do that, we'll need to create 5,000 styles per day. Remember what we were doing with all of those wedding dress sites? Same idea, flood the zone. Keep the shops that were making wedding dresses for us, but we're gonna need to add about 400 more. Hook them directly to our software. We'll give them tons of small order, but to be part of that gravy train, they have to tell us how much capacity they have, what and how much fabric they have. Let's make sure they always make our orders first. We are the priority. Pay them in 7 days. Everyone else pays them in 90. Don't just track orders, track clicks, track hovers, shares, everything for each item. The moment enough data points line up, have the algorithm send out an order for thousands more. Take the human out of it. Forget warehouses and all that back and forth. Send everything right from the factory. This is the system we're competing with, folks. WGSN compiles data, sends it to retailers. Retailers send it on to factories. Factories send it back to retailers. Retailers then show it to customers. Customers then can finally tell the retailers whether they like it. We are going to cut out this step and this step. This will cut time down from 6 months to 4 weeks and prices by at least 75%. What are you waiting for? Go. It worked extremely well. Shein quickly became the second most valuable apparel brand in the world, second only to Nike. The WGSN Reflexivity loop took months to start working. Shein's took days. No one was asking for the thousands of styles they'd upload every day, but get enough people looking at them, pick the ones with the most interest, get people to post about them on social media. People's perception about an unusual sweater could be changed very fast. Drive enough perception, drive more styles, drive more people to Shein. It was a beautiful, reflexive loop. Customers took notice. Apparel companies took notice. Designers, the media, and then the government took notice, which they will do when you're threatening an entire industry by chartering 50 Boeing 777s per day to deliver 1 million individually wrapped packages to take advantage of a customs loophole written in 1930 that allowed packages under $800 in value to enter the country without all the customs and taxes that come with everything over $800. It's the exact same thing they were doing with the Google search strategy, working in this very gray area. Like Icarus flying too close to the sun, there was no way that many packages flowing through a loophole could continue forever. US government steps in and says, enough of that. 4 weeks to get orders to customers has now turned back into months. What used to be little packages on planes going direct to customers is now many packages in containers loaded onto ships for the Pacific crossing, and just like every other retailer, unloaded into warehouses on the West Coast. Shein being forced back down the spectrum reveals just how critical time is to reflexivity. How quickly can perception be changed, and how quickly the underlying thing can absorb or correct for that change. This is the difference between an ordinary feedback loop and reflexivity. Why bank runs happen in days or hours. Why a political candidate doesn't want to peak too early. Why meme stocks go straight up and then straight down. Once you know what to look for, you see it everywhere. All right, we're done. Cut. Actually, I got a few things I want to leave on the table because while they didn't make the cut for a variety of reasons, they're very fun to think about. First, Bear's paint color of the year is already teal. WGSN's color of the year is transformative teal. Teal, like that was spontaneous. Second, there's game theory at play amongst the buyers who read the WGSN report. You could look at their situation as a reverse prisoner's dilemma or stag hunt, where if they all follow what's in the report, reflexivity increases and they all win. And they all must know this. Third, social media has dramatically cut the time it used to take to change perception. Systems built before social media or without that in mind are naturally more fragile than systems built to harness it. That's it. I will see you in the next video.